Ahoy hoy, I'm Planet Walk, and at the end of last year, I made a video that had a pretty big mistake that I made in it. Actually, probably the biggest mistake that I've ever made. You see, the video was one where I attempted to debunk Level Earth Observer and his claims about Skylab's footage from the 70s. Now, in this video, Level Earth Observer did showcase that he doesn't know how things like inertia works, and he did make some pretty contradictory claims. However, in my response, I made an assumption that turned out to be incorrect, and that was that everything being presented was serious, when, in fact, a large part of it wasn't. You see, the astronauts in the footage being presented were just goofing around, having fun. It wasn't meant to be taken seriously like I took it. As many people pointed out, those weren't actually 500-pound weights, and Level Earth Observer was closer to being correct than I was in his assertion that they were balloons. So yeah, they were kind of faking it, but they were faking it in space. It's kind of like that whole Stanley Kubrick wanted to fake the moon landing, but he wanted to do it on location. Anyway, I was completely oblivious to this fact until after I posted the video, in which I realized, oh shit, I fucked up. I wonder if Level Earth Observer's gonna say something about that. So I decided, okay, I have to make a video on this, I have to set the record straight. But also I decided I'm going to give Level Earth Observer some time to see if he finds this video and maybe respond to it. Because my thinking was, maybe he did this to prove some kind of point. Maybe his point was going to be that, you know, globe earthers will say that things that even NASA says are fake are real, just despite flat earthers. However, he didn't respond at all, which would have been an easy win for him. So maybe he didn't see the video that I posted. Except there was at least one flat earther that I could find that tried to inform him that I had made a video on this. If it was really his plan to catch globe earthers in some kind of trap, you'd think he would have taken that opportunity to just laugh at me for getting things so obviously wrong. Now, this means that there are two possibilities here. Either he is just as stupid as I am and thinks that this is something that NASA was really trying to say really happened or something like that. Or he knows that that's just astronauts goofing around, but doesn't really care because his audience will just agree with him anyway. Neither of those things are going to make him look good, to be fair. What I did didn't make me look good, but at least I am recognizing the fact that I stuffed up. LEO hasn't done that. In fact, I don't think I've ever seen a flat earther acknowledge that they got something wrong. Which is very weird considering that being wrong is something that I think everybody does. We all get things wrong from time to time. It's okay as long as you recognize when you do get things wrong. Is it embarrassing to admit that you've gotten something wrong? Yeah, it is. But I'd rather people admit and acknowledge when they've gotten something wrong, rather than burying their head in the sand and acting like they're perfect. Now you may be asking, okay, but Planner, how did you screw up? You're usually pretty smart, you're usually pretty onto it. And to that I say thank you for having that much confidence in me. And the answer is, it's pretty hard to find further reading on this. Even if you know that it's a gag that the astronauts were doing, then it's still hard to find something that says, hey, this was a gag that the astronauts were doing. This is probably because NASA never expected this to be taken out of context to try and show that they never went to space. You can though find information about astronauts at Skylab's having done practical jokes. It's just that they probably didn't think, oh hey, we need to point out that there was a practical joke done where they pretended to lift weights or something like that. Now, because I had a limited amount of information, I incorrectly assumed that they were actually trying to lift weights. Now, you could say that, well, there are a few things that you should have picked up on. Like, Where's Wally pointed out that you wouldn't realistically be able to fit 500 pounds into the space that they were supposed to be fitting it into. However, my mind just didn't go to that. Sometimes you just don't pick up on certain things. Or you could mention the fact that NASA doesn't really use weight training in space to prevent muscle atrophy, as springs are a lot cheaper. And that is a fair point. Because I was operating on limited information, I did make a guess, but that guess was incorrect. What were they doing with that was useful? Seriously. Now, I don't know the full answer to that, but I can take a guess, and my guess would be that they were trying to keep in shape. At that point, I probably should have just taken some pause and said, I don't know, rather than making a guess. And actually, one of the things that I wanted to do for this video, but I'm having a very difficult time trying to figure that out, is what could have I done better? It's easy enough to say, oh, well, you should have done more research, and maybe that's true, but even when I did more research, I didn't find the information that would have helped me get things right in that video. At the end of the day, I'd love to be able to say, okay, well, I'm just going to make sure that I do better research to make sure that this doesn't happen again, but I don't know if that's always possible. I think sometimes maybe the only thing that I can really do is acknowledge when I make a mistake and make sure to correct that. When I make videos, most of the time it's just me. I don't have a team that can point out all the errors that I've made in a video. I could always try to release videos early to members and Patreon supporters, but I think the problem that I run into with that is sometimes I do have a schedule that I've set for myself. And sometimes I might be running behind in schedule, and with the 12 Pseudoscientists of Christmas that I did, I was running behind in schedule. A little bit. That's probably the best option that I've got, especially going forward, but I'm not going to be able to use it all the time, and it's not going to be 100% foolproof because, you know, some people might just not know about a mistake that I've made. But I think it's the best option that I've got, and I understand that there are some people out there that may not feel particularly comforted by that fact, but at the end of the day, sometimes there is nothing that you can do to stop yourself from making a mistake. Just try to learn from it. Oh, and also acknowledge it. Don't pretend like you're perfect, but I would hope that most people don't need me to tell them that. Anyway, despite me getting things wrong, I hope you stick around so that I can see you in the next video. Between you and me, thank you for watching.